We've all seen the videos. The wreckage of Russian Ka-52 scattered across the fields of Ukraine, once the apex predators of the sky, are now frequently shot down on the battlefield. The consensus is clear. The attack helicopter is dead, but the U.S. Army disagrees. While the world is writing the obituary for the manned gunship, the Pentagon is doing something radical. They aren't retiring the Apache. They are turning it into something else entirely. They have just activated a new, mysterious unit. Foxtrot Company. This isn't just another squadron. This is the unit tasked with saving the attack helicopter from obsolescence. They are transforming the Apache from a frontline brawler into a mothership. Is this the evolution that saves the gunship, or just a desperate attempt to keep an expensive platform alive? To understand Foxtrot Company, you have to understand the massive failure that preceded it. In February 2024, the U.S. Army canceled the Future Attack Reconnaissance Aircraft program. Billions of dollars, years of development, flushed down the drain. Why? Because the Army looked at Ukraine and realized a terrifying truth. Sending a manned scout helicopter to sneak behind enemy lines in 2026 is a suicide mission. The air defense grid is too dense. The risk is too high. So, they killed the scout helicopter. But the mission, finding the enemy, didn't go away. Who is going to do it? The answer is drones. But drones need a quarterback. They need a controller. And that is where the Apache comes back in. In January 2026, the U.S. Army activated Foxtrot Company within the 1st Infantry Division. This unit doesn't just fly Apaches. They specialize in air-launched effects. It's an admission of error, followed by a brilliant pivot. If you can't build a survivable scout helicopter, you turn your heavy attack helicopter into a drone carrier. This fundamentally changes the role of the Apache pilot. They aren't just shooters anymore. They are battle managers. Let's look at the tactics. In the old days, Desert Storm, Iraq, the Apache was a brawler. It flew nap of the earth, popped up over the trees, and engaged tanks with Hellfire missiles at 8 kilometers. Today, that tactic gets you killed by a man-pad's missile in seconds. The new summoner mode works differently. The Apache stays safe, 20, 30, even 50 kilometers back, hiding behind terrain. The pilot presses a button. From the stub wings, it doesn't fire missiles. It fires Altius 600 drones. These little guys unfold their wings and fly forward into the death zone. They are the scouts. They fly for 4 hours, hunting for enemy radar, armor, or SAM sites. And it's not just one type. It's a family. You have the small Altius. Then you have the big brother, the Eaglet. This thing has a range of 700 kilometers. It can fly hours ahead of the Apache, using synthetic aperture radar to map the battlefield through clouds and rain. And some of these drones aren't just watchers. They are loitering munitions. Suicide drones. They spot a radar, dive, and boom. The workflow is like this. Phase 1. The drone swarm pushes forward. They light up the enemy network. The Apache pilot sees everything on his screen without exposing his own aircraft. Phase 2. The decoys. If the air defense is too thick, the Apache launches decoy drones that mimic the radar signature of a helicopter. The enemy shoots at the ghosts, revealing their position. Phase 3. The strike. Once the enemy SAM sites are exposed, the Apache uses its long-range missiles to delete them from safety. It creates decision dominance. The side with more eyes and faster data wins. The Apache pilot becomes the conductor of an orchestra of robots. Now, you might think this is new tech. It isn't. The Army has been obsessed with this for 30 years. It started in 1997. Back then, manned-unmanned teaming was just a pilot watching a grainy video feed from a drone. He couldn't control it. He could just watch TV. By 2012, they upgraded to level 2 and 3. The pilot could control the drone's camera. Look left, look right. But by 2020, we hit level 4 and 5. Now, the Apache pilot actively flies the drone. He controls its flight path. He fires its weapons. In a massive test in 2020, an Apache pilot sat in the back seat and directed a Gray Eagle drone to fire a missile. The helicopter never fired a shot. The drone did the dirty work. This validated the concept. It proved you don't need a Forest Scout helicopter. You need a better network. To make this work, the Apache itself had to mutate. The heart is the new T901 engine. This monster produces 3,000 shaft horsepower, a 50% increase. Why? Because all these computers, antennas, and drones add weight. You need power to carry the network. The brain is the longbow radar. Mast now houses the MUMTX data link. This allows the Apache to talk to the drones across multiple frequency bands simultaneously, immune to simple jamming. The spine is open systems architecture. In the past, upgrading a helicopter meant rewiring the whole airframe. Now, it's like a PC. You want a new jamming pod? Plug it in, update the drivers, and go. This adaptability is what keeps the 40-year-old airframe relevant. But here is the elephant in the room. Why bother with the helicopter? If the drone does the scouting and the drone does the shooting, why do we need the $100 million Apache in the loop at all? Why not just launch the drones from a truck? It's a valid question. Look at the economics. A Russian Ka-52 costs $16 million. An FPV drone costs thousands of dollars. The trade minus off is brutal. The Apache flight hour cost is nearly $20,000. An MQ-9 Reaper is $5,000. Why risk human pilots, who cost millions to train, when you can use a disposable robot? Many nations, like Turkey and Azerbaijan, are making this switch. They are building drone air forces and ditching expensive helicopters. So why is the US Army sticking with the Apache? Because of battlefield intuition. General Laura Richardson, head of Southern Command, calls it the human element. AI is smart, but it lacks context. A human pilot can look at a tree line and feel that something is wrong. The grass is mashed down. The birds aren't flying. It's intuition. AI doesn't have that yet. Furthermore, there is electronic warfare. Ukraine proved that EW is the drone killer. If the enemy jams the data link, a drone becomes a brick. It crashes, but a manned Apache? It can fly dark. The pilot can use his eyes, navigate by terrain, and complete the mission without GPS or radio. A human is the ultimate backup system for when the network fails. Human judgment plus robotic mass is stronger than either alone. The Apache isn't the fighter anymore. It's the on-scene manager who ensures the robots don't get confused. However, the Apache still has to survive on the ground. In the early days of the Ukraine war, Russia parked their helicopters in nice, neat rows at air bases. The Ukrainians used HIMARS missiles to destroy entire squadrons on the ground. It was a turkey shoot. The US Army has learned this lesson. The future of helicopter ops is dispersion. Foxtrot Company won't operate from a massive base with Burger Kings and AC. They will operate from jump-forward arming and refueling points. 2 helicopters in a clearing. Move every 24 hours. Hide under trees. Use Starlink for distributed command. And what about defending against enemy drones? The Apache is getting its own claws. They are equipping it with advanced precision kill weapon system, basically laser-guided rockets, optimized to shoot down enemy drones. It's an aerial dogfight, helicopter versus drone swarm. It is using magic to fight magic. Russia is trying to catch up. They are fielding the Ka-52M with a longer-range missile. They are trying to integrate their own drones. But they are lagging in the network architecture. Their MUMT is still often a pilot talking to a drone operator on a radio. The seamless digital fusion the US is building with Foxtrot Company is a generation ahead. So where does this leave us? The creation of Foxtrot Company is the US Army putting the attack helicopter on life support. But it's a very high-tech life support. By transforming the Apache into a drone mothership, they are buying it relevance for another 30 years. In the future battle, you might never see the Apache. You will only see the swarm of Altius drones coming over the hill, sensing, jamming, and killing. And deep in the background, 50 kilometers away, hovering in the shadow of a mountain, the Apache crew will be orchestrating the violence like conductors. This symbiotic system, man and machine, is the likely future of warfare. But for other nations? Nations that can't afford the complex data links, the satellite networks, and the training required to run a unit like Foxtrot Company? For them, the attack helicopter might truly be dead. Without the swarm to protect it, a lone gunship is just a target. Technology changes, the enemy changes, but the need to project firepower flexibly remains. We won't know for sure if this concept works until the next major war. Will the human element save the helicopter? Or will the sheer economics of cheap drones eventually overwhelm even the most advanced mothership? If we reach a point where AI can truly think like a human, then maybe the pilots will finally be sent home. But until that day, the Apache keeps its rotor blades spinning. What do you think? Is the drone mothership concept brilliant? Or is it just delaying the inevitable death of manned attack aviation? Would you rather be in a cockpit or a control container? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.